saying it because it's real. It is so real. Is that a wise man say you once knew. You have to make it your business to know, and I like that. That hits home. You have to make it your business to know. Why not know what the hell is going on? Not only in your own life, but in everything else that you are, that's around you. Just know it. What's wrong with knowing? I want to be a know-it-all. I strive to be a know-it-all. So yeah, so I'm looking, man. It just, so we go tap into that later on in the show tonight. But I want to say first and foremost, what's up to everybody that's in the building, everybody that's on the call lines. What's good with you tonight? It's good to see you in the building because you be doing anything and anyone, but you're here tonight, chopping it up with your girl Nefertiti. So that means a lot. Let me see everybody that's on YouTube. I think we live over there. I see the YouTube icon going on. So let me because I got the notification. So let me tap in over there too. I will in a little bit. Say what's up to everybody over there once they get over there. Let me click on the click clack over there. Boop. All right. I'm over there. I wait till the people come in. It just started 72 seconds ago over there. So I'll let everybody just come on in and wipe their feet on the rug, so to speak. But they are in the AP. I see you over there in the AP. From the bottom all the way up to the top. I want to say what's up to Young T is in the building. Taekwondo, what's good with you tonight? It's good to see you. All right, come on, handy clap. There we go. J1, good evening to you, J1. It's good to see you tonight. Sweet Oshun is in the building. What's going on, Sweet Oshun? Who else we got in here? Our sister Zena's in the building. Newbie Rockweed 9 is in the building. What's up? Rahul Baffer, he is in the building. Who else is out here? Mushmouth is in the building. Miss Hudson is with us tonight. What's good, Miss Hudson? Ethereum Forever is in the building. Bingy D, all the way across the waters, across the Atlantic, is in the building. Rich Gagal 2020 is in the building tonight. And of course, you already know what it is. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm going to say, Miss WGAG herself. What's up, Don Nicoleone is in the building. What's good with you, Don? Still a party. It's still 13th year anniversary. We're going to keep this thing rocking all the way, I guess, all the way out to the end of this month, right? Right? That's how you do it. That's how niggas do it, right? You party, it's birthday, you party the whole month. Sometimes the whole week. Some people party the whole month. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep things going. As she said during the anniversary, hot damn politics, it's been an integral part of things we do around here. We kept this thing going. There's so much going on. I enjoy doing it, bringing in these hot damn politics because it's a lot going on in the world politically. What does it mean for you and I? Because even though it's not directly in our lives, it indirectly it affects people's lives. And no more time than now is it evident. You know what I'm saying? Like in the past, politicians just talk their shit, invoke what they, bring in, what they want to bring in, and it never really, you can never really feel or see a lot of the shit that they did. It would always be like in the background or some, other immaterial things that really didn't. Come on, Adnan. I'm sure you do this every time I go live. The immaterial things that didn't mean nothing, but now is as they take this opportunity to, with the situation, now we're seeing how it truly affecting lives and the chaos that it's creating in a lot of people's lives. But we got to remember, always remember this, that everything that's going on is voluntary. America is set up in a way that you will volunteer to fuck yourself up if that's what you want to do. It's voluntary, right? Thus far, you know what I'm saying? It ain't got to the point where they totally forcing motherfuckers. Everything is voluntary at this point. All right, and that's what you got going on. People volunteering to put themselves in particular situations. And because of the things that they're evoking, that is, you could choose to let it have a profound effect on you, but, hey, you got to use, it's like the law of attraction. I choose not to focus on that all that bullshit that they do got going on, because otherwise it would affect my life. And we always got to remember that what we focus on grows. The energy we give to shit is what's real. What we make that real. Whatever we deem real is real because we focus and put energy, put our energy and motion into that shit. So when I bring this information, I don't bring it with a in terms for people to be shell shocked, fucked up, anything like that. We know what's happening because again, when you know, you have no worries, right? When you know shit, you're not worried about things. You just understand what you're seeing, right? So if you know and you see what it is, you always have a way to avoid shit where most people are going to get hit by whatever it is that they're throwing out here. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's most important. All right. So we're gonna start a little before we get into the fourth industrial. We're gonna go into some of the things that have been happening currently, some things that they are talking about, and some things that they ain't really talking about. And right now, we're gonna talk about really what they ain't talking about is that shit that's happening right now over there in Virginia in Loudoun County. Right now, this shit is getting more interesting by the moment. Loudoun County in Virginia, in the state of Virginia, is where these teachers, where these parents have been going real hard, going real hard on the school board out there, right? They've been going so hard. They just been exposing the shit that they got going on. We've seen it in spot places around the country where you had the parents come and just basically come show full force that the shit that they teaching children not cool. The things that they trying to implement, they ain't with it. So of course, what's his name, Merrick Garland, who is now the Department of Justice. I told you in a week or two ago that they sent in the FBI. They've taken federal agents into a state, all right, and into states, and to observe what is happening at these school boards, right? Because lo and behold, parents who really give a fuck do something. Now they're so-called domestic terrorists. But one incident in particular, it got real out of hand, where a father basically went off in a board meeting, and he got wrestled to the ground. By then, police were already starting to come to these board meetings, these school board meetings. So, but nobody really knew why this dude was so enraged. Like I said, he going off and he getting tackled to the ground. They want to charge him with all these terrorist threats and shit. So I started to say, what's going on out here? Let me take a little bit deeper look about this dad and all this shit that's happening. Well, come to find out, this man is the father of a girl who was raped in the school bathroom, right? But here's the kicker, and this is what your mainstream media is not saying about it. So they covered up the rape. They covered up the rape that his daughter suffered in the school, right? School board and them did, basically handled it so-called in-house. The cat who did it, the boy who did it, got a slap on the wrist. But what happened was he assaulted another girl in the bathroom again. But here's the kicker, and this is why they're not talking about this case in these terms, because the boy went into those bathrooms wearing a skirt. Okay? The boy walked in there wearing skirts, picking out girls to assault, to rape, to sodomize. You understand what I'm saying? This is why they're not talking about it. Because anybody with a fucking regular working brain understand that these things are going to happen. Because you making it one bathroom for all. Okay, everybody know that this is going to happen. And it's probably happening in... no, okay. What? Okay, hold on. All right, y'all. I gotta take this call real quick. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, goddamn. All right. Give me a sec. Oh, I see Mr. Lowry. What's up, Mr. Lowry? You in the building? You wanna talk, or you want me to go to a...
How are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna go to a quick commercial, or you want to come in and hold it up? I ain't put no pressure on you.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do a quick commercial, and then we'll take it from the top when you come, because you haven't gone too far.
Nah. All right. Cool. Let me be right back, y'all. Let me find something real quick. We don't usually do commercials. I forget what to play in times like these.
Section 8.
I'll play not Section 8. I'll play this. Hold up.
Peace, Don. This is Mushmouth, calling from the land of Medina, a.k.a. the County of Kings. Keeping it strong after a decade plus one. Dropping that 9 wisdom, helping niggas overstand. Let's march this next 100 together. Squashing these fucking Edomites. Peace.
What's going on, Don Napoleon? It's Amenti the writer, calling from New York City, by the way of North Cackalax. Happy 11-year anniversary. It's been great.
Yo, this is Mr. Carter representing the Cat Army up here, Richmond, VA. Happy 11th anniversary to WGAG Radio, Don Napoleon Show with a crazy ass.
Yo, this is Mel, a.k.a. Melanie Clark, calling out of North Cackalack, North Carolina. Happy 11-year anniversary to Don Napoleon, the WGAG Radio and family. If you ain't fucking with WGAG Radio, you ain't shit, bitch.
What's up, Don? This is Zena from Fort Wayne, Indiana, calling out of Galveston, Texas. I just want to say happy 11th anniversary to WGAG Radio. This is Cheryl from the Tampa Bay area, Florida. I've been following you for 10 years. You have educated me so much over those years. Congratulations and happy anniversary, your 11th year. I just wanted to call and wish you continued success.
This twice on Double R. Happy 11th year anniversary, WGAG.
Great day. This is Doc Mechanic, Bi-Coastal, mainly from the Mojave Desert. Congratulations to WGAG Radio on its 11th anniversary. Tower number 11. Great things are coming in the future. The place where bullshit stops.
This is Nick Bett calling from Texas, still plugged in and will forever be plugged in to WGAG Radio. I'm calling to wish you a happy 11th anniversary, and I pray that you have, no, I don't pray, I know you're going to have 11 more years of greatness because you are just that bitch.
This is Nubi to WGAG, wishing you a happy 11th anniversary. I'm glad to be part of the WGAG family, and we're enjoying this every day. This is my one-stop shop.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Happy 11th anniversary to WGAG Radio and Don Napoleon. Thank you for all that you've done for me and my family. Been slaying motherfuckers.
All right. All right, we back in the building here. Hot damn politics. All right. Come on in. So what's up, Mr. Larry? We'll give you a proper introduction.
Hey, now, they're working hard on this, and every day is a brand new, interesting day. I can tell you that much. Man, like never before. Throw yesterday out the window because we got this to deal with. But other than that, everything is going quite well.
Okay, I'm about to say, you want to talk about it, or is this something you want to keep to yourself? Because I always can get back to the teachers, the stuff that's going on at the school. Just you in the trenches, this is real life right here.
Yeah, it's definitely, real life. And true to my brand and my style, I always tend to take the opposite position of what everybody else is going. Because that's usually a place off the side of a mountain. We're just preparing for the long haul. I'm preparing for the long haul, on this thing, and we cannot cede another inch at all. Like, we cannot concede another inch. And taking that in mind, of course, we're going into an election season here in D.C.
Right.
I'm not working with no Democrats. Period. I might like you personally, but I'm not doing it. I am not ceding 1 inch further because, people got a tendency, you give them an inch, they will soon take a mile.
No doubt about that.
That has been my experience, in life. So those who, are with me, we're preparing ourselves for the long haul in this battle that we have to face. And right now, it's beyond partisan politics. When we had an opportunity to maybe, force a curve in the road, instead of the straight line trajectory we on, we missed it. So ain't no sense in crying over spilled milk. We had an opportunity with the door that was flew wide open by Trump. Not to say that he was a lover of black people or not. I don't know the man personally. But what I do know, the policies and the way he was moving, just like we heard, I think you guys, we played the Farrakhan tape before, that opened the door for us to benefit off of. And by and large, the great majority fell for the propaganda, as we always do, and was misled, followed by the whole Black Lives Matter thing that we had to face all summer. And now here we are. So right now it's not about a Republican or a Democrat, as far as I can see. All of them are compromised. So I cannot, in my right conscience, when I have to live with me, have any part in that. Knowing that on the political end, those folks are compromised. They sat there and watched these emergencies go into place and left the people to hang. They watched these governors and mayors and county executives unilaterally impose unthinkable mandates just 2 years ago and didn't say anything. They watched while this cancerous disease of sociopathic fucking behavior is now spreading into the schools and our children, and they didn't say anything. Our women are under great attack. I mean, they got guys dressing up as women and beating the crap out of women in boxing rings, not to mention the issue with Loudoun County and a lot other more horrific stuff. It's like they're canceling out women. And they didn't say anything. So to continue to put faith in that particular class of parasites is futile and something we will have to revisit at a later time. Because right now, the time and what must be done is the people now need to start forming sleeper cells within their community so that no matter what happens, you will have the necessary support to be able to endure what, from all appearances, is not going to get better in our head anytime soon. So I've made that known that I no longer want to play that game, because I have grandchildren out there, and I have all girls, so they're going to be reproducing like mad. You know what I mean? My family tree,
right?
They're going to be reproducing like crazy. I mean, all things being normal, you know what I mean? That's what women do. They have children. I'm not one of those type of fathers to stick my head in the sand. Those things happen. That's the nature of things, and you know, I'm not going to have them looking at their elder saying, you know, well, how did all of this get there while we around the woods talking about the good old days when we used to can walk and go to a 7-Eleven without having to scan your eyeball to see if your eyeball got the right amount of Visine in it.
Right.
You know, so the lines are in the sand, you know. And of course, my position always now that's sort of a business move, because it's called increasing your own leverage. And we haven't learned that lesson yet. So the leverage isn't going along to get along. Your leverage is on the other side. That's where the value is. So we stepping up the game. So we're stepping up the game here in this progressive den of Washington, D.C. And this battle ain't for the weak of heart.
You got to show strength in all things, and in all things that you do. In all things that you do, you got to show strength, man, because it's with that shit, Brave New World. No, it's they really try to switch shit up. So you always got to be, you got to be a step ahead. That's why I said we just got to make our business to know, because some shit they ain't gonna be able to avoid, in the sense that some shit is gonna be implemented. Some things are gonna be implemented,
right?
And so like I said, also I always said, this is why money ain't gonna solve everything, but money's gonna do you better than not having a lot of resources. I'll just leave it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can avoid a lot of shit. You can create your own ecosystem if you so choose. That means you just dip in and out of shit. And this is what has to happen. This is what has to happen for people who don't, who not giving in, who not taking the fucking knee. This is what you have to do. This is what has to be done. So,
well, the challenge is three-pronged. So I agree. We have to address the physical needs. They haven't, pulled the rug out, and we ain't gone into a worldwide blackout yet. So you still need that dollar to buy a dozen of eggs, regardless, at the end of the day. So we have to address the physical, but the mental and the spiritual is going to be very key in order to give you the energy to do what has to be done physically. Part of that is just knowing where you at in the game. And like you say, it's like a good game of poker. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Some areas, at this point, we're going to have to fold. Not in the sense of capitulating, but in the sense that it's too far gone.
Explain that.
It's too far gone to fight that. And then in some areas, we're going to have to hold. We're going to have to hold the line, regardless. And the type of person I am, there's certain things out there that I would rather be put in the firing line and you put a bullet in my head and kill me than I sell my soul to you. Period. So some things are a deal breaker. Period. So it's a multifaceted challenge, which really drives me. Really, lifelong. I like challenges. I like risk.
Right. Hey, if you like risk, then you destined to be all right. You know what I'm saying? It ain't stupid risk. It's calculated risk. You know what I'm saying? That's what you have to do. You have to have to be calculated risk. Life favors the bold, and you have to. You got to be able to take action and things that look risky, so to speak. Those are the people who fare well in life, from my point of view. You know what I'm saying? Period. It's a beautiful thing. It shows you're alive. You ask me. Goddamn, it shows that you are alive in this thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you can't get caught sleeping. Mm-hmm. This ain't the time to be asleep. If it ain't right, get it right. You know what I'm saying? Like this is no time to be caught slipping, because if you slip and fall, you're out the game, period. On to the next. And right now, we ain't got time to, be licking no wounds. It's like, a pack of lambs, and that lion come out chasing those goddamn lambs. Now, either you gonna run fast as shit, or that lion gonna catch you and eat your ass. And you don't see none of those lambs turning around talking about, oh, they caught Bambi. They gone. Bambi should have kept up. So, that's what it is. But I just see on the horizon, especially for the Black community, they're going to set up a scenario and they're going to hit us with the same game.
What you mean?
They're going to place race over top of some issues. Mm-hmm. They're going to try to get us all in a unified posture. Of course, that posture is going to be supporting our own destruction, but we're not even going to know it.
Oh, works every time. I mean, that's the go-to weapon, man. That's the go-to. Mm-hmm. Anytime these people want to move the needle, and anytime they want to move the needle, make something happen, they know where to reach in their bag and what to pull out, and they pull out the nigga emotion. That's really, really good at it, But,
and shout out to the show. We're up to 60 parents that we have properly trained and educated them to pull their children out of the District of Columbia Public School. That has been an initiative, because I can't, in this time, you can't really, publicize everything, because that's just not where it's at right now, because they're going to come at you and try to shut you down in many ways. So, yeah, we're up. Our goal is to get 100 parents by January to pull those kids out of public schools, and then to have that 100 stands as an example for those parents who may be afraid, may not have the proper spirit, because we're thoroughly addicted to the government. But by the end of the year, if we can have 100, that would be fantastic. But we have a whole program. We have coagulated over 50 different organizations. So we show them how to get them out of school. We have template letters because they will sick CPS on you. They don't let you go easily. So we have the templates to guide them through the process. We have several, because homeschooling offer a whole bunch of resources, and it's just like really for those who were on lockdown and the kids were at home and everything was going virtual. That's really what schooling is going anyway. So the home schools are way in front of that. So they can give their child the experience. And most parents, I'm finding like that flexibility to be able to teach a kid in its proper pace.
Okay.
So that's an accomplishment, So those are the type of things that, I am beginning to focus on, processing. And
keep going, Mr. Larry.
Yeah, processes and systems that we can put in place as a solution to some of this madness that's going on to, present options. And those of us who have children and grandchildren, to take advantage of homeschooling now will probably be something you will want to look at, because before long, they're going to try to over-regulate that area too, to sort of trap these children in the public school system. The FDA has approved boosters or whatever it is for all the way down to 5-year-olds. So we're talking about, what's that, pre-K, kindergarten? So now we're looking at kindergarten on up. And we can reasonably assume that this new thing is going to join the list of already growing things. I mean, goddamn, these kids gotta take so much nowadays. I remember the smallpox and measles and maybe whooping cough or some shit like that, maybe 3. But I was talking to a parent the other day, and oh my God, the list on that, man, is just ridiculous. So we're really proud of being able to work with the parents and to be able to get that many to go initially with the goal of 100. And then, going into we can do 100, we could do way much more, is my thinking. But just to provide some solutions while we continue to address and identify the problem, that's certainly a must.
Right,
but
go at it.
At the same time, we have to begin to write. We need to begin to write the new book. We need to begin to write the new book.
You got to carve your own path. You got to create an alternative. You know what I'm saying? You know, right? I mean, that's what it is. That's one thing I say I love about us as a people, is that we're most creative, so-called, when the backs are against the wall. That's how you got to be. You have to be. You got to think of. You don't have. You can create an option. You don't have to take just what's in front of you. You can create, and I love it. So that's a beautiful thing to hear. That they're just not taking it. They're just not gonna sit there and feel bad for themselves and feel like all hope is lost. So they gotta fold. They gotta fold under the pressure. No, we create something else. And see, and to me, this might, for some, this shit is a blessing in disguise, so to speak, and meaning that that motherfuckers have to become ingenuitive again. They have to create. They have, what I'm saying? They have to make their own way. You know what I'm saying? If you got enough
take
conviction,
responsibility for their own life,
and that's what it's about. That's exactly what it is. Full responsibility for whatever goes on in your life, and so that's a beautiful thing to see parents, and they're just like, nah, we're not playing that game, and that's what it takes, and that's good to see Nubans doing that all over the place in every situation. We ain't fucking doing it. We're not taking it. We're not gonna take it.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, they played that at one of the Trump rallies in D.C. back when they was on Stop the Steal. So I'm sitting up there. I'm all the way at front. I'm getting my footage, because I love that stuff.
Shit.
And these white folks start playing. We're gonna take. I ain't even gonna lie. Now, if I caught the spirit, I found my fist in the air, like, oh yeah, yeah, that song right there, man. And they had a little bass on that bottom too with it. I was like, damn, they out here. They get ready to turn this place out. But yeah, we gotta really start addressing the situation and try to stabilize, the women, because see, like with these mandates, they are being most effective because, we got a boatload of single women that's carrying the full responsibility on their own.
They're working.
So if they can't, yeah, so they threatening their jobs on one hand, and then, this god-awful stuff that's going on with our babies in these schools. That's a lot of stress for a woman to carry. That's a lot
out of control right now. Schools are out of fucking control. You're right. Virginia's one state over, right? Ain't Virginia one state over from you? right? So
yes,
I'm
I
sure
would probably.
y'all.
I like Virginia. Actually, I would probably retire there, but I
Is that
like
right?
Virginia. Virginia is much more conservative. I think Virginia is just a victim of many other places that you got these, like Alexandria, closer to D.C. You're looking at really that's where the real power brokers reside in Alexandria and Arlington. And they come to D.C. to work the play. It's just across the bridge.
Shit,
But far
ain't
much more power
Alexandria?
over there.
Ain't Alexandria and Arlington? Isn't that like the hub of the intelligence community? Ain't that like where
Yes. Yeah, you
government
have
intelligence is?
like your power brokers in that underground secret sect is on the Alexandria side, right?
Okay.
And then when you get the power brokers for the alphabet, they're on the Arlington side. They are right next to each other, but that's how that pretty much goes.
So it's going up in Virginia right now, like I was saying at the opening about what's going on over there in that school district. And the students had a walkout today in solidarity. And that was kind of a beautiful thing to see. Now, again, they ain't no outlets outside of a couple, which they would call right-leaning or conservative, are reporting on this aspect of this story about what happened to these girls.
Yeah.
That they were raped and assaulted by a boy wearing a dress because he still got a dick and it still get hard. And his
at the end of the day.
Right. And his head is clearly all fucked up. So, but like I said, and like I said earlier, many of us knew these kind of things were going to be happening with this. It's just people are going to take advantage of it, or if he's some gender identity confused individual, you know what I'm saying? That you're going to have these problems.
But I learned something now.
What'd you learn?
We were having dinner, and it was a group of them, transvestites is what I call them, transgender, and they were at the next table. A conversation ensued. We were downtown, but you know that sexually, these people go both ways. So in my head, I'm thinking if somebody cross over to the other, like if a man come to a woman, he just want men. That's not necessarily true with a transgender. They see themselves as gender fluid. You see what I'm saying? I forgot the name that they gave me, but it was one of those 64 names that you named that I forgot.
Right.
What it was.
Pansexual or sociosexual,
So,
marsupiosexual.
Sabio is intelligence. I forget which one of those sexual. They just do anything that's goddamn walking at that given moment. You know, and that's the danger of transgenderism. Black women need to be careful. They just really need to be careful. They need to be careful in dealing with these transgenders.
Nubian women should have been rejecting the whole situation, but I don't know. I mean, I don't have any of those types in my world. So like Nubian women are partial to them because let them on in. Nubian women accept just about anybody. So yeah. So that's what it is, and the younger generation loves it too. So I mean, that's like I said, people should be people. Let them just don't be fucking with people. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is a whole, like I said, this is a brave new world, and they want people to acquiesce to their homonyms and ad homonyms, call them this, cisgender, all that cisgender, this that. It's a we're watching and living through a real reprogramming of people, and in a serious way. And they're going to do it with shaming tactics and labels and everything like that. I I can be within a system and not be of it and participate in it. I don't have to roll with the shit that you got out there. I don't have to. I know how to play my part. I know how to move in and out. I know how to get a thing done and then live my life and deal with my children and the best I can to combat what's going on. I mean, to combat, because it is a battle. You have to battle for the minds of your children. You know what I'm saying? That's how strong this shit is, and it's probably been like that since the beginning of the time. But now that I'm doing this mother thing, and I'm 15 years in, and it is a battle. You know what I'm saying? And you have to. So I just make sure I'm physically fit, I'm mentally fit to be able, like I said, to move about and do what I need to do to get done on a monetary level, and then the other principalities that I got to fight that are trying to reach in and snatch my children from me in the guides of the foundation that I instill in them every day. You know what I'm saying? And to show that I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want the world to try to frame you as a mother to your children. I'm just, I'm speaking like, you know what I'm saying? I don't, because that shit can start to take shape. Like my mother's bigoted, and homophobic, conspiracy theory, all those labels and shit, that they got out there for people. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what that shit is. But, man,
I think we're all mixed with all that. Just throw the book at us. You know what I'm saying? Throw the book at us.
For sure. Antiquated thinking, all that shit. So, look. So, let's tap into, because we on the 8 o'clock hour, which is the 11 o'clock hour. I want to talk about Tony Fauci getting caught with his hand in a fucking cookie jar on gain of function, and how all these fucking everybody out here is just like no, or just put on their fucking blinders. Everybody knew what the hell. For one, a lot of us already knew his history, so to speak, but when we start seeing the documents that showed his connection to what was happening over there. Now, shout out, hey, check this out, fucking YouTube. All this stuff is documented. All right, so what we're saying here tonight is actually documented information. Matter of fact, we're going to play a little clip that went on in Congress today between Merrick Garland and Tom Cotton, a senator, about, I know I saved that clip. See, this is, boys, Facebook be on some humbug. I know I saved that clip. It should pop up. And I don't see it. There it is. Boom. All right, we're going to play that, but then we're going to get into, what we all knew what it was. We knew that money went over there. That money is documented. The players that are involved, everybody know. So this is why you got to go back to that first clip we played some time back of Fauci giving his testimony before Congress and how he tried to change what gain of function actually is. This is why he was doing that shit, because eventually he knew the cat was going to get out of the cat, what the bag is out of the cat is out of the bag kind of situation. But let's tap into it real quick before we move forward in the show. Let's take a listen real quick.
That's wrong. Shameful. Judge, this is shameful. This testimony, your directive, your performance is shameful.
That's not.
Thank God you are not on the Supreme Court. You should resign in disgrace, Judge. On May 11th, Tony Fauci testified that his agency, quote, has not ever and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Last week, his agency admitted that they had, in fact, funded gain-of-research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Are you investigating Tony Fauci for lying to Congress?
So the long-time rule in the Justice Department not to discuss pending investigations, potential investigations.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Do you believe Tony Fauci was truthful when he said his agency had never funded gain-of-function research?
This is outside of my scope of knowledge.
Let's turn to your outrageous directive sicking the Fed.
For the record, you should see this man. He is sweating. The sweat is literally beating off of his face, off the side of his face. The Department of Justice. We've always said you never let them see you sweat. This dude is sweating. Okay.
Across America. When you crafted that October 4th memo, did you consult with senior leadership at the FBI?
My understanding was that the memo or the idea of the memo had been discussed with the FBI before.
Did anyone at the FBI express any doubt or disagreement or hesitation with your decision to issue that memo?
No one expressed that to me.
No one?
To me. No one expressed that to me, no.
Because a lot of them have contacted us and they said they did, Judge.
I'm sorry?
A lot of FBI officials have contacted my office and said that they oppose this decision.
Well, I doubt any of them spoke to me about it because I didn't speak to no one.
All right. Judge, you've repeatedly dissembled this morning about that directive. For instance, about the National Security Division. Chuck Grassley asked you a very simple question, why you would sick the National Security Division of the Department of Justice on parents. John Cornyn asked you the same thing. You said it wasn't in your October 4th memorandum. It was in another office's memorandum. It was another office's memorandum, Judge. It was in a press release from your office right here in front of me, October 4th, 2021, for immediate release. You're going to create a task force that includes the National Security Division. What on earth does the National Security Division have to do with parents who are expressing disagreements at school boards?
Nothing in this memorandum or any memorandum is about parents expressing disagreements with their school boards. The memorandum makes clear that parents are entitled and protected by the First Amendment to have vigorous debates. We don't, the Justice Department is not interested in that question at all.
Okay, so even in that case, what is the National Security Division, Judge? These are the people that are supposed to be chasing jihadists and Chinese spies. What does the National Security Division have to do with parents at school boards?
This is not, again, about parents at school boards. This is about threats of violence.
Okay, let me turn to that because you've said that phrase repeatedly throughout the morning. Threats or violence and threats of violence. Violence and threats of violence. We've heard it a dozen times this morning. As Senator Lee pointed out, the very first line in your October 4th memorandum refers to harassment and intimidation. Why do you continue to dissemble in front of this committee that you are only talking about violence and threats of violence when your memo says harassment and intimidation?
Senator, I said in my testimony that it involved other kinds of criminal conduct, and I explained to Senator Lee that the statutory definitions of those terms and the constitutional definitions of those terms involve threats of violence.
Okay, let's look at one of those statutes you cited. Yeah. Section 223. Yeah. That statute covers the use of not just telephones, but telecommunications devices to annoy someone. So are you going to sick your U.S. attorneys and the FBI on a parents group if they post on Facebook something that annoys a school board member, Judge?
The answer to that is no. And the provision that I was particularly drawing to his attention was 2261A, which was to engage.
I wasn't talking about 2261A. I know you mentioned that. You also mentioned 223. That's what I mentioned.
Yeah. But the
Judge, you also told Senator Klobuchar that this memorandum was about meetings and coordination. Yeah. Meetings and coordination. Yeah. Well, I have in my hand right here that I'll submit to the record a letter from one of your U.S. attorneys to all of the county attorneys, to the attorney general, to all sheriffs, to the school board association of his state, in which he talks about federal investigation and prosecution. It's not about meetings, it's not about coordination, it's about federal investigation and prosecution.
I'm going to stop it right there. The reason why, this shit to me is significant, I'll just say from my point of view, is because they're trying to set precedent with these parents. That's with the shit that's going on in Virginia right now. They're trying to set a precedent, meaning that everyday people cannot form and come together, which is what your right to assemble, right? Peaceful right for peaceful assembly. They're trying to attack that by going at these parents. If you listen to what he said on Section 223, whatever it was, 223, about coordination, right? So that goes back to, again, that's coordination of assembly. Everybody who says they're going to get together and be at a particular place all at the same time, coordinate and communicate. You know what I'm saying? It's a bigger thing that they're going after, but they're going to use these so-called threats of board members to achieve a goal. This is how they operate. They take a little, they find a little crack. They say something's going on here, and then they're going to extrapolate from, take a little piece out, and then run with it, and then apply that shit all over. This is the shit. I tell you who you need to tap into every once in a while, who got some real good information. Is the former what's his name? Edward Snowden. Ed Snowden. What's his name? Edward Snowden. Eric Snowden. Whatever the fuck his name is. That guy. The former Department of Homeland Security guy. I need to tap in once in a while to that cat. He be giving out information from over where he at, Russia, wherever he is. But that's what they're trying to do. They want to stop people from assembling and going up against corruption. So if they can deem it, a threat and call these people domestic terrorists, because this is what they were trying to label these parents as, you understand? Then they can get away with shit like that. Okay. Got you. Where did this go? Oh. What's this? What we got here? What we got here, Mr. Lowry?
That's an excellent book right there.
Okay.
We were talking about the Fauci thing, and it goes into it tracks Fauci's entire history and everybody else that's working with Fauci. Probably one of the best breakdowns I've seen. I just got my printed signed copy today.
Oh, this was that manuscript you was telling me about, right?
Yeah, so that's the manuscript. So I had the manuscript, but I, also wanted to support the guy. So, I got the book today. And I sent the PDF to your inbox. Twank is on the line. I just sent you a friend request. If you answer that friend request, I'll send you the PDF where you guys can just get with Neff, because it's in your inbox.
Okay. I just saw it. Pop up. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you. Oh, yeah, psychiatric drugs, toxic psychiatry. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he has
children. Oh, yeah.
He has some great work. I just finished The War Against Children of Color. Psychiatry targets the inner city youth. And he walked us through the overprescription of behavioral modification drugs. Like Ritalin and all that and Adderall. And he's showing exactly how they were intentionally targeted inner city kids.
Oh, you should listen to the Don Nicoleone show today. Don literally hit on that precisely showing the things that man was involved in and what he signed off on to get done for his science, so to speak. Now
this ain't reading for the weak. Now you gotta be brave when you start digging down into these nuggets here. You see what I'm saying? You got to be. And thanks to GAG and Don and Neff for providing the platform. Because see, we ain't talking about some shit that happened 2,000 years ago as if it has a great relevancy and surviving this onslaught. But this information here, being armed with it, you can navigate your day-to-day a little bit easier because you're not walking around with blinders. Because when you got blinders, you're susceptible to the con. You see what I'm saying? Because all I gotta do is give you fancy, spirited words. And because you got blinders on, you would take those words as truth. So this one right here by Bregan breaks it, all the way down. I'm still not in agreement because they knew Fauci knew what he did. Everybody know what he did. You see what I'm saying? And you letting it out to the public. You know, my position has always been that too. With Fauci is a misdirection because what have to be explained is those goddamn patents from 1999.
Absolutely.
That's what has to be explained.
Absolutely.
Because you can't have SARS-CoV-2 without SARS-CoV-1.
B1. Absolutely.
And when you dig into SARS-CoV-1, you're running into those goddamn patents.
Hello.
So you can put the banana in the tailpipe to take some people on the loop. But I think they're using Anthony to control and bring up the outrage because they know it's out there. So they let him go out, let people get upset, then sweep it under the rug and keep it moving. And we still would not have questioned the proper thing to question, which is those patents from 1999.
Absolutely. It's not, I mean, there's those who dig for it. Like you said, we know that, hey, that movie, that documentary showed it, the pandemic showed it, man. It was like all this shit is on paperwork. They cannot hide from that truth. But a lot of people don't want to ingest this truth about what's been going on because, you know, hey, a lot of people volunteered themselves and all this stuff. So they have to keep up the fallacy in their minds. This is the only way that's going to keep them sane. You know, from them offing themselves or whatever the other case may be. Because wait till I tell you what this other shit that just been popping off that they just discovered in these hospitals. But let's go back into step back into the this Fauci thing. I want to read this article. It's interesting. It said a full 2 years after the Wuhan hosted the 2019 Military World Games, all right, determined by House Foreign Affairs Republican to be one of the planet's first super spreader events of the novel coronavirus. He said a top official in the National Institute of Health has conceded that contrary to the repeat assertions of Dr. Anthony Fauci, the NIH did indeed fund highly dangerous gain-of-function research on bat-borne coronaviruses in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. In a letter to Kentucky Republican James Comer, the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Lawrence A. Tabak of the NIH, admitted that out of an abundance of caution, and of course after 2 years of external outrage over the possibility of lab leaks hypothesis, the nation's top medical research agency conducted an additional review of how the funds authorized by Fauci and friends were used by EcoHealth Alliance in a New York-based nonprofit organization headed by frequent WIV collaborator Peter Daszak. We gotta find out who that cat is. It says the bulk of Tabak's letter is spent on covering the potential culpability of the NIH, claiming some sort of false equivalence between the possible mutation time of the WIV controlled RATG13 to become SARS-CoV-2 to that of chimpanzees into contemporary human beings. But the admission is no less gratifying. I think that's a cover up. That's trying to say we didn't really try to do this shit. It's kind of what it became. You know, they're trying to say they didn't mean to create whatever, or they didn't create it, but they did do gain of function. So per the letter, EcoHealth did indeed fail to report findings required by the terms of the NIH grant, and even more crucially, the biohacking of viruses obtained by EcoHealth, which fall under the obvious definition of gain-of-function experiments, was conducted by the WIV. So they're going to make EcoHealth fall on the blade. You see what I'm saying? They're going to make EcoHealth fall on that blade of they went out and did some rogue shit. That's what they're going to do. So it's going to be a fall person who takes the cake for this, and Fauci walks away untouched. He can claim he has plausible deniability. He just said we gave this money to EcoHealth, not for those purposes, because that's what he was saying, so to speak, in that testimony. This is why that's why he was changing the definition of gain of function research. Because again, all this shit is documented. The woman who so-called discovered this shit, Dr. Shi from over there, credits Anthony Fauci on her paperwork thanks for the funding for the shit that we found over here. Really is what they created. So, like I said, we know this. We know this man, his record, and what they've been doing. The man was on tape and said in 2017 that the Trump administration would for certainly encounter an outbreak. For certain. He said that with certainty. Speaking of, check this shit out. Oh, I forgot all about this. Oh, let me go get it. See, this is why you got to keep running your mouth, because then you remember shit. I got this for y'all. Hold up, wait a minute. Let me put some boom in it. I want you to listen to, because when you think you're not going to get caught doing anything, you run your mouth. You run your mouth when you truly be like, can't nobody touch me. I am untouchable. But here we go. I watched this, I listened to these pressers, or these gatherings of the mind, so to speak, through this channel called the Milken Institute. Remember, I told you also a couple of years ago to check out the Milken Institute, created by this cat named David Milken, who was a top trader. But anyway, he has these forums, and they always take these major players in world events, economics, health, basically the biggest GDP shit, health, finance, and housing, right? Basically. And he always gives these forums. But Anthony Fauci and this other player, I forget his name, Rick Bright, sat on this panel. And I want y'all to listen to this. He did this right before this shit popped off. This is what I meant to play the first hour. I totally forgot. But we're going to listen to like a couple minutes of it. So I need y'all to hear what they're talking about. Well, you know what the theme of this? They're talking about a universal, check the word, an effective, here's the definition of the talk. Health experts discuss the scientific and technological prospects of an effective universal influenza vaccine. So this is what this conversation is about. They've been wanting to do something universally applied vaccine for quite some time, y'all. What are we living right now with these? This is universal. It's global. Watch. I want you to listen to what they say and how they say they want to implement something like this. So panelists discussed the need for more funding and research, better collaboration between private and government sectors, advances in technology and flu research, and the goal of a universal flu vaccine. Well, guess what? Moderna just again today came out and said that them people gonna have to volunteer giving them and take this shit every year. They've turned people's immune systems into a prescription-based moneymaker on top of everything else. But here we go. I want you to listen.
Live Saturday and Sunday, November 23rd and...
Wouldn't, because we'd be dead. And what happens when these sort of things occur is if they don't kill a lot of people, we just move on, especially when it comes to influenza, which people seem to think is just a word that means I don't feel well. It doesn't. And I think for the first question, I'd like to ask Tony, maybe you can explain a little bit
Tony
about
Fauci. Here we go.
Why would we want a universal vaccine? How does this work? How is a pandemic different than what we get every year? And where are we?
So they're talking about a pandemic, and this is like months before this so-called shit popped off. This was in October. Here's the date: October 29th, 2019. The first case in Wuhan was December, supposedly, of 2019. I believe it was reported in December. Maybe late November. So this is approximately 30 days before the first case was made public to the known to the people. All right, here we go.
Okay. Well, thanks, Michael. Well, just very briefly, because I know we certainly have a lot to talk about, but the situation with influenza, I think that many people in the audience know, is that unlike a virus like measles, which if you have a measles virus and you get vaccinated against measles or you get infected with measles, that you are protected essentially for life, for the simple reason that measles doesn't change from year to year or from decade to decade. Whereas influenza is very unique in that it is a virus, a group of viruses. There are different kinds of influenza A, and let's just focus on influenza A, that tend to, we use the terminology, drift from season to season, and that there are mutations that change it enough so that you really need to get vaccinated each year, and you try to anticipate the right match between a vaccine and the virus that will be circulating. And then every once in a while, as Michael alluded to, you have a very dramatic change, either by mutations or by evolutions from animal influenzas that jump species, recombine or what have you, and you have something that's called a shift or a real big change. That's really unique. I mean, the viral infections that we deal with, polio, smallpox, measles, etc., don't do that. So we're dealing with a continual moving target from season to season and the threat of a pandemic. So the title of this session is The Quest for a Universal Flu Vaccine. So when we talk about a universal flu vaccine, it really right now is an aspirational goal, in that the quest being to make a vaccine that induces a response in the body to that part of the influenza that doesn't change from season to season, from decade to decade, or even that much when you get a pandemic. And scientists now throughout the country and the world have been able to identify components of the influenza that really do not change much at all. And the critical issue is getting a vaccine to induce a response against that part. Now, a universal flu vaccine is not going to be, today we don't have it, and then we flip a switch, and then next month or next year we have it. It's going to be an iterative process, because if you look at the display of influenza A's, they're in two major groups, and there are 18 different H's. So there's a lot of wiggle room in there that you're going to have to cover. So the quest or the road to a universal flu vaccine will be to, for example, take one of the influenzas in group 1. Let's take H1. And we know that it changes a bit from season to season, to make a vaccine that would cover all of the iterations of H1. And then the next step would be maybe all of the iterations of whatever in group 1. And then there's group 2 that has H3 in it. And then the next goal would be to make a vaccine that covers all of the iterations of H3 and on and on. So it's going to be a stepwise process, with the ultimate aspirational goal of having a vaccine that you could give relatively infrequently compared to now, what you needed every year. That could be every 5 years, every 10 years, or what have you, that covers the broad array of the influenzas that we would be experiencing. So that's in a nutshell.
Thank you. One of the things I've done as a journalist is constantly write stories telling people to get flu vaccines, but they really kind of suck. And people always say to me, why should I get a flu vaccine? And I always say, 23% is better than 0%. And as far as my math goes, that is true. But I'm wondering,
150,000 people around the world dying every single year from seasonal influenza. And if we take that scenario that Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation funded from the Institute for Disease Modeling that says, if we had another outbreak like a pandemic virus today, what we saw in 1918, in that 6-month time period, we would have 30.
What did you see him compare it to 1918? Did you hear him say the pandemic of 1918? Okay, I think I don't need to say anything else because we know what this has been compared to. Yeah, 1918. Let's listen to Rick Bright again.
150,000 people around the world dying every single year from seasonal influenza. And if we take that scenario that Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation funded from the Institute for Disease Modeling that says, if we had another outbreak like a pandemic virus today, what we saw in 1918, in that 6-month time period, we would have 33 million people dead. And not only that, that virus would have been seeded all around the globe. And 2 months after that, our best technologies to make vaccines would start releasing vaccines. And so we're still behind the gun on the tools we use to make the vaccines. We have some reasonable vaccine foundations, and we can make them better by adding adjuvants or with our high-dose vaccines that are not fully utilized. And a lot of parts around the world don't have access to the vaccines at all. And so I think that the sense of urgency needs to be there, Michael, but also the fact that we need to leverage the tools we have and at the same time envision what that universal flu vaccine is in a very rapid, urgent pace to get there.
so as part of my life, I teach at Stanford, and people use this word in Silicon Valley, which I mostly hate, but I'm going to use it now, disruption. Why don't we blow the system up? I mean, obviously, we can't just turn off the spigot on the system we have and then say, hey, everyone in the world should get this new vaccine we haven't given to anyone yet. But there must be some way that we grow vaccines mostly in eggs the way we did in 1947. I mean, we live.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all caught what this man just said. I'm going to play it. Did you catch what he said about disruption and blowing a system up? What are they saying is being blown up right now? Anybody? You know what they're saying is needs complete overhaul? Anybody? Mr. Larry, take a stab at it. What do you think it is? Somebody take a stab at it.
What's that? What needs to be blown up?
Yes, disruption. It needs to be overhauled.
Well, our economy, first of all, but in terms of what they were talking about, I would say the whole FDA approval process.
Not only that, but healthcare, the system.
Yeah,
the healthcare system.
Yeah,
the healthcare system.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like they've always grown viruses in eggs. That's always if you remember Utopia. Remember when they had the eggs and the shit? They was breaking them, and when they wanted to fuck it up. Yeah, they've always done that, but they got that new tech. But here we go. It's called MINA. Here we go. Mm-hmm. But check him out. We're gonna go back to him and let him finish his statement. But check him out. Listen closely.
This word in Silicon Valley, which I mostly hate, but I'm going to use it now, disruption. Why don't we blow the system up? I mean, obviously, we can't just turn off the spigot on the system we have and then say, hey, everyone in the world should get this new vaccine we haven't given to anyone yet. But there must be some way that we grow vaccines mostly in eggs the way we did in 1947. I mean, we live in a world where I can download whatever song I want onto my phone at command, and we grow vaccines the way we did 70 years ago. What is going on with that, Peggy?
I think I can talk on my own.
I never knew that about you.
Well, I think it certainly is the case that we are behind where we have to be in terms of the urgency of this threat and how we're harnessing advances in science and technology and how we're mobilizing as a society to also recognize the magnitude and scale of the problem before us. clearly disruption comes with uncertainty, and it comes with uncertainty on many levels, uncertainty within the scientific community and how we.
So, you know, this woman who's talking was the former head of the FDA during the Obama administration from 2009 to 2015. All right, here we go. Her name is Margaret Hamburg, Dr. Margaret Hamburg. We're talking about technology and how to deliver vaccines. Here we go.
We do science, regulatory uncertainty, which I know something about, and also uncertainty about adoption and access and all of that. I think.
I just gonna say real quick, this ain't conspiratorial. This man said, this is his words, how do we blow up a system, and how do we get people to then say, give me a vaccine that has never been taken before? They succeeded. They succeeded from a technological standpoint, right? And the delivery of this vaccine. They've all accepted it. So this man said this on October 29th, 2019. And they made it happen by December, or literally the first shot was given on my new year of December 14th, 2019, right? Or 2020. December 14th, the first shot was given on December 14th, 2020. Here we go.
One of the things is, and I think hopefully one of the messages coming out of this panel is that it's time to stop talking, it's time to act, and we've talked about these issues for a very long time, and that has taken the place of action sometimes, I think. But in terms of the why we're still growing it mainly in eggs, I think, you know, a part of it is that it's just the way we've always done it. It's the way we know we'll get some kind of vaccine out into the marketplace. And there's always been the hope that in the meantime, other work will be going on and we'll have the breakthrough and the aha moment when we have a universal vaccine. Clearly that is not going to happen. I think it's also that we haven't had this sense of urgency.
Do we need to have lots of people die for that sense of urgency to occur?
Well, the incredible thing is that lots of people do die every year, and yet we aren't.
And there's something, this is how they talk so casually. They so gangster, I must say. They so fucking gangster. I mean, they talk, what do we have to do? A whole bunch of people got to die? No, just the threat of it. Just the idea of it. They some smooth fucking criminals, like Michael Jackson said. You've been hit by, you've been struck by smooth criminal. They smooth.
God, I hated that damn song, but yeah. Like, stop playing that song. You know what I'm saying? They wore us out with them in the microphone. Like, you can't even really dance off that shit. You had to look at that on the video.
Mike was trying to tell us something, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been hit by a smooth criminal. I mean,
man.
that's a glimpse into the minds and, you know, another world.
Indeed,
you know,
indeed.
They're talking without any consideration for the ground.
At all.
So they don't care.
None.
You can protest, scream, holler. They're completely insulated from that. Absolutely. If they ever hear it. So they talk about, you know, we just going to go and do all this grand shit to those people over there like it ain't nothing. Show me the results on a spreadsheet.
Right.
And we'll go over the numbers. The numbers.
She said we need to stop talking and start acting. We need to have a sense of urgency. We need something to happen.
Yes.
And you should see Tony Fauci's face. If y'all can see his face, he looking. Wait. What are you talking about? Oh, okay. Do you talk to her at all? Yeah, it works. I don't know what's up. It's your iPad. It was fine. All right, we'll talk about it in a minute. I'm on air. All right. So yeah, I mean they can talk about it with no caution. They can throw wind to the caution to the wind, I should say. They can, and they do. So, but according to Reuters, right, you said we could see his face. He was looking. He crossed his legs. He clutched his knee, and he tilted his head up. Right? I ain't no body language expert, but when I see that from a man, and he tilts his head back and he starts like to rock, that's like I know something you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
As they speak about doing things, and he and he rocks and looks and bends, tilts his head back like, only if you knew. It was one of those kind of looks. Only if you knew.
Mm-hmm. And those folks are experts in doublespeak, so they know perfectly. Anybody who is in that particular set, and it has knowledge of what he's saying really means. He's saying two different things. Just the American language is highly duplicitous.
Oh yeah.
Highly duplicitous. So I could just be speaking to you as normal, and you think you understand what I'm saying, and I'm telling you, screw you, go jump off a bridge, and you sitting there laughing, shaking my hand, and wouldn't know. That's how duplicitous the English language is. So he's engaging in doublespeak. I mean, what you just played, he told it right there.
Yeah.
We trying to develop something that you're gonna have to take forever.
Forever.
What do you say? Every time we come up with a new H, I don't know if it'll be every 3 months or every 6 months or a year, but every time we come up with a new H, we're just gonna come out with something to cover all of it. And when something else comes up, we'll come out with something new.
Pfizer already came out and said they're formulating a new vaccine in 2022. So, yeah. They already saying they're coming up with a new one. New and improved, baby. New and improved. New and improved for that ass, literally. But yeah. But, all this stuff is documented. So, don't get mad at us. Don't hold us for what they said. We're just merely listening and examining. Listening and examining. Listening, comparing, and contrasting. This is educational. This is straight educational. This is not conjecture.
We're not giving medical advice.
Exactly. We're not giving medical advice. Absolutely. Even though we do have minds of scientists, but we're just examining the actual conversation to real world reality events that are happening in the world.
But it looks like they're going to scapegoat ego health.
Yes.
Because that's a shell anyway. It's a past.
That is a shell entity.
He give it to eco give it to somebody give it to you. That's how that works.
Subcontract to subcontract. Yeah.
That's how you launder government money out the goddamn back door. You just have a line of shells, and it's very hard to trace that. But it looks like they're gonna throw EcoHealth under the bus.
Yes,
and
they did something
act like he ain't know nothing about it.
Right, they did something they weren't supposed to.
But see, that's why I'm saying it's going to go back to what the I think it was Dr. David Martin. I like that cat. It's going to go back to his patent research. Because you can't even lie about that if you go all the way back to that original patent that you signed, Anthony Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to deny that shit. If you see how they cutting it off, and they're giving us a narrative from last year up until now. Mm-hmm. So according to the narrative, late 2019, the people down in China was doing their thing, and then it began to spread. Right, but that's only like maybe 0.05% of the entire
What is your reaction,
story.
David?
Sorry about that. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The other 99.995% is really coming through the United States of America, according to those patents. So how can you not know what you was funding when the patents clearly got your name written on it going all the way back, and probably before 99? You know, you have the age and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is related. So yeah, I see them burying that whole story through EcoHealth was the ones that's funding them. We're going to go after EcoHealth. We're going to shut them down. Don't look at it anymore. Case closed. Cancel that particular history. That's the official narrative. You know how in 1984, when the man was sitting at the desk, he'd take the little thing out and change the note. Like yesterday, we got 5% increase in chocolate. He'd take it out and change that shit and put it back in. So history was constantly changing. They're rewriting history is what they're doing, so that the American people cannot see the depth of, you know, that whole EcoHealth situation.
Facts. But here's what criminals do. They pass off that work to someone else when the heat gets on them, right?
The heat is on.
All right.
It's on the street.
Heat is on the street.
The heat is on the street. That's exactly what they
we
did.
We know that song from fucking what is that?
What was that?
Oh, him
that
and
wasn't Miami Vice.
No, with him, he was the cop. Goddamn, he was in San Francisco. Him and the old boy. Come on, y'all know what that is. Not Beverly Hills Cop. Nah. The other one, when you fucking criminal, Axelrod. Was that Axe? No. Y'all know. You know that's
Beverly Hills Cop. The heat is on. That's Axel. We're gonna figure this shit out before the show's over.
When he the fucking criminal, he tied up to fucking old boy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, here we go. This is what happened. This is what they've done. They passed off that work since they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
They got busted. Yeah.
Right? Since they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar overseas doing shit, well, they just pass off that research to universities. Washington State University was just granted a project and funded $125 million to detect emerging viruses. It says back in Pullman, Washington, to better identify and prevent future pandemics, WSU has entered into a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Agency of International Development. Okay, that company is that agency is funded by the NIH. Okay, so in effect, again, Tony Fauci is the head of this. See, don't just because they pass it through to another agency, don't think that a certain individual does not run it. Because if you look at all the it's like a hierarchy. All right, you got the NIH, the NAAID, then you have the the USAID, all those other agencies that fall under the NIH umbrella. All right, so we ain't getting confused. They can't confuse us. They're gonna head a 5-year, $125 million global project. So again, they'll go off around the world into somebody else's lab, Wuhan Institute of Virology, and go do projects. It says the USAID discovery and exploration of emerging pathogens, viral zoonosis, or deep VZN project will build scientific capacity to partner in partnering countries to safely detect and categorize unknown viruses, which have the potential to spill over from the wildlife and domestic animals to human populations. Gain of function research, y'all. That's what they're doing. So to make sure the world...
We gotta save this conversation now for when we have to ask Miss Lockdown Radio to give us, take the leash off us, Don. Let's not do YouTube where we go hard as hell over on the other platform.
True.
Because what you just said, that shit don't even fucking sound right. The Heat Is On is on the Beverly Hill Cop.
Is it Beverly Hill Cop? Okay.
Yeah, it's Beverly Hill Cop.
Okay.
Yeah, but that all that stuff they saying right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, humans and animals, there are some similarities, but there are significant differences. Therefore, you can have a cat that's sick as all can get out. You take to the veterinarian, and they got to either put your cat to sleep or give you all this medicine, but it has not affected you, not one bit.
Not one iota.
So it's not easy to bring a animal-born disease over into a human.
Right.
Like the only way that can be happening.
Didn't come from animals. The bubonic plague, came from nasty ass European living conditions. Okay, it didn't come from animals.
Bacteria, industry, hygiene, really bad hygiene,
yeah,
and those type of things. That's what gave rise to that.
Right.
But in order to do what they're saying, you have to drink the cyanide in order for that crossover to happen. See, and that's another thing that they're playing with in the conversation. Because, they're giving us two different conversations. They're giving us one conversation about the origin of it and where it came from, right? That's one now, the other conversation, how? Like, goddamn, how? You talk about the whole world now, how?
Right.
I haven't seen no bats in Washington, D.C. Quite sure there is some, but they just generally don't fly around where I live at. How, folks? That's the key. That's the conversation, but they stay away from that one.
Yeah. And thank you, the folks in the after party, Nuvi and Ethereum was in there trying to tell me, Don, it was 48 hours is what I was thinking about when he got out of jail. Yes, 48 hours.
Okay, yeah.
That was my shit.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Okay, that's turn on a red light. That's what he was doing at Rock.
Now, I see you really like the 80s music.
Oh, man.
Because you know all of them.
I know all that. Yeah, I do, man. I'm a big proponent of, I love music in general. But I'm pretty well versed in all the decades, but the 80s hold a significant place because, of course, that's your childhood. The 80s.
Yeah.
I'm 10 years old in '88. So
right.
All that stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, here we go. So here they go. They say this is their quote, to make sure the world is better prepared for these infectious disease events, which are likely to happen more frequently as wild areas become increasingly fragmented, we need to be ready. This is what Felix Lansker said. He's the lead principal investigator in this. And he said, we will work to not only detect viruses, but also build capacity in other countries. So the United States can collaborate with them in carrying out an important work. Kind of like what they was doing over there, right? So now they have 12 targeted countries in particular. So we got to keep our eyes out for particular countries, y'all. Guess fever outbreaks are going to start happening in these countries. Of course, we already know where they're going. Number one, Africa. You got to stay in Africa. Latin America. They want to be in South America, basically. Latin America is basically South America, right? And they want to carry large-scale animal surveillance programs in these countries. So we'll keep our eye on them as they do their work, you know. So the project will focus on finding previously unknown pathogens. Oh man, from 3 viral families that have a large potential for viral spillover from animals to humans. Coronaviruses, the family that includes SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, flyoviruses such as Ebola virus and paramoxiovirus, which includes the viruses that cause measles and Nipah. You see what how are they focusing? Listen to that. They're focusing on unknown pathogens. So how are you focusing on something that's unknown?
There's no such thing. Right.
Boy.
Now, see, that's where fear mongering comes in.
Right.
Now, that's where playing with people's intelligence, and they're doing a damn good job at that, I must say. But that's where we're playing with people's intelligence. You know, everybody ain't sitting here cracking open and breaking what the fuck they telling us down like we do every day at 12 and every Wednesday, right? We're part of a very teeny minority that's actually saying, like, did he say unknown pathogens? How did you know that there were unknown pathogens if the pathogens is unknown? How you know that shit, Fauci? What fucking science do you have?
No, they just saying we about to create shit. Don't worry.
So is it fair to say
whenever
they start talking about unknown pathogens, we just hit the goddamn deck, because soon after that shit, the unknown pathogen is just gonna pop the fuck up.
Man, okay.
Basically.
Oh shit. All right.
I like that. Read that sentence again.
We just said that at the same time. I like that one. That was a good line. We are detecting the unknown pathogens. Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, y'all. We're in overtime now. 9:03 on the West. Happy Thursday to everybody else. We get ready to tap in. Let's tap into the Fourth Industrial Revolution real quick. I don't know. Were you able to download it, Mr. Lowry, at all?
Yes, I have.
All right, on.
I'm ready.
You can share some reading too if you like. You can always volunteer yourself if you don't. Just
Oh, actually,
if you don't mind.
I love when you. I mean, yeah, when you get tired of reading,
okay,
you can
cool.
read some of this stuff. It gets sort of
all right.
dry. You know, they write it dry on purpose too. They
yeah, I know that's how we got to deliver it the way we do. We on page 17, y'all. We on page 17. Page 17 is the inequity. Inequity as a systemic challenge. Inequity. Now we know we've been hit. That is a trigger word. If I ain't never heard one. Excuse me, not inequity, inequality. Okay, let me correct myself. Inequality. We've been hearing that word. We know who words like this, so-called, who trigger by words like of inequality, right? All right, here we go. Let me download this book real quick, though, this manuscript, so I can put that in my own light. Okay, boom, done. All right, here we go. The Fourth Industrial Revolution will generate great benefits and challenges in equal measure. A particular concern is exacerbated inequality. The challenges posed by rising inequality are hard to quantify, as a great majority of us are consumers and producers. So innovation and disruption, look at that word, innovation and disruption will both positively and negatively affect our living standards and welfare. For the record, McDonald's just partnered with IBM. Just did a business, a strategic partnership today to introduce massive robotics and AI into their to the way they do business. So it's happening, and you're going to see an uptick in it all. Okay, you're about to see rapid speed of transformation in as many industries as possible. The first is always going to be the so-called lowest level when it comes to this, and that's in service industries. Early, so-called low-level service industries, which are like your food, fast food, your food industry. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they partnered with IBM today, y'all, to introduce, that tech. So won't be probably in the next couple of years we won't need any not too much humans working. We'll be working at McDonald's, just those to maintain the computers and make sure they're running and making sure shit is updated. That's about it. So that'll probably be in the next couple of years. All right. So it says the consumer seems to be gaining the most. The fourth industrial revolution has made possible new products and services that increase at virtually no cost. Wait, I read that wrong. The fourth industrial revolution has made possible new products and services that increase at virtually no cost the efficiency of our personal lives as consumers. Order a cab, finding a flight, buying a product, making a payment, listening to music or watching a film. Any of these tasks can now be done remotely. The benefits of technology for all of us who consume are incontrovertible. The internet, the smartphone, and the thousands of apps are making our lives easier and, on the whole, more productive. A simple device such as a tablet, which we use for reading, browsing, and communicating, possesses the equivalent processing power of 5,000 desktop computers from the last 30 years, while the cost of storing information is approaching zero. Storing 1 gigabyte costs an average of less than 3 cents a year today, compared with more than 10,000 20 years ago. Huh? What's wrong? Why not? What you mean, you're rising? You got to. Okay, hold on, y'all. You can keep going if you like, Mr. Larry, or
the inequality as a systemic change is what we read in the fourth industrial revolution. If you need that on PDF, let me know. I can send it to Neff and she can get it to you all. This first section, they making everything sound, rosy, but this thing get dark as we proceed, if you can read between and behind the lines, because they're talking about basically replacing human labor. And they're confident that everything we do as a human can now be accomplished digitally and robotically, which leads us straight to the issue of depopulation. Because if you're talking about, we don't need y'all to do these jobs, and all of that type of stuff, then the next question to me will become, what will happen to, a system based on jobs? What happened to all of those people if we now have computer to do all of this stuff? Secondly, you're looking at a massive repossession of wealth. I don't even know if you want to call it redistribution at this point, because if they are the owners of this technology through which the goods and services is being produced,
right,
then you know, they locking down the end. They locking down the fourth industrial. By the time we get head deep into the fourth industrial revolution, they were already on all avenues through which you have to go through. But that will become more apparent as we continue reading, I suppose.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, my diabolical one that I like, Elon, he said in a minute, he said, like, basically people who got basically not skilled individuals, he said, like jobs are going to be meaningless. You're not even going to, don't worry about it. It's going to be meaningless. You don't even have to worry about working. You know. So yeah. So they preparing for it. I mean, look what the Democrats did, man. Like I said, they're creating a lot of chaos. Mm-hmm. They knew damn well when Congress passed that first package and it was giving everybody money. They were just just dishing out and doling out money. Everybody know damn well, like, people could have been paying their rent. But what the Democrats did behind that is put a moratorium and said nobody pay. Even though they was getting all this government money. I mean, whether it came through the stimulus checks, whether it came through unemployment, whatever the case may be. So now you had this backlog. Now the moratorium is gone. The moratorium is over. People are getting evicted left and right. This is something they're not talking about. A lot of people getting put out right now. So they want to create this level of distress in society. If they can make the distress, then they can come and be the saviors with the solution. All right, here we go. The challenges created by the fourth industrial revolution appear to be mostly on the supply side. What's happening now? In the world of work and production. Over the past few years, an overwhelming majority of the most developed countries and also some fast-growing economies such as China have experienced a significant decline in the share of labor as a percentage of the GDP. Half of this drop is due to the fall in relative price of investment goods, itself driven by progress of innovation, which compels companies to substitute labor for capital. See, this is why they want everybody not working. As a result, the great beneficiaries of the fourth industrial revolution are the providers of intellectual and physical capital, the innovators, the investors, the shareholders, which explains the rising gap of wealth between those who depend on the labor and those who own the capital. It also accounts for the disillusionment among so many workers, convinced that their real income may not increase over their lifetime and that their children may not have a better life than theirs. Tell me we're not watching it. This book was written in 2016. So this shit that is the battle cry for people right now. This is all they talking points. This is crazy. This is wild. This is all their talking points. We're not, they say our pay is not increasing. We're not, we're working and we're never going to move. We're not. So that creates the angst and the resentment. And then these people can say the inequality wealth gap is tremendous. So let's change it. Let's tear the system down. But I'm sorry, again, so-called the lucky breaks, the wealthy, if always because they are the innovators, because they are the investors, and because they're shareholders. Okay? And it will always be like that. Even when they do switch shit up, it's still gonna hold true. That holds true in any level of a capitalist society. Even in the fake one like China, it still holds true over there. Okay? People wonder why the tax code is all like it is and it favors the people on top. Motherfucker, because the tax code is made to incentivize people to take risk. If you invest, if you build shit, if you own businesses, we will not tax you. We will not tax you heavily. We want you to invest. We want you to create. So again, those who are creators and problem solvers do well. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Rising inequality and growing concerns about unfairness presents such a significant challenge that I will devote a section to this in chapter 3. The concentration of benefits and value is just a small percentage of people. It's also exacerbated by the so-called platform effect, in which digitally driven organizations create networks that match buyers and sellers of a wide variety of products and services and thereby enjoy increasing returns of scale. When we're talking about business people, we're talking about people who are entrepreneurs, people who understand the system and make that shit go. Everybody can get a piece of that if they so choose to. But that means that you have to change the way you think. That means you have to stretch your own capabilities. You have to step outside what you've always been, what you've always thought you were. That's another line of mode of thinking. People have been trained through formal education and all other kind of shit that's not for them. Or they don't even attempt it. And maybe it ain't. I don't know. Here you go. These are the fundamental changes affecting our economic, social, and political system that are difficult to undo, even if the process of globalization itself were to somehow be reversed. The question for all industries and companies without exception is no longer, am I going to be disrupted, but when is the disruption coming? What form will it take and how will it affect me and my organization? The reality of disruption and the inevitability of the impact will have on us does not mean that we are powerless in the face of it. It is our responsibility to ensure that we establish a set of common values to drive policy choices and to enact the change that will make the fourth industrial revolution an opportunity for all. So that means changing the way common folk live. That's what he's saying right there, right? We're gonna change the way that you live. Meaning, again, we got all this shit that we about to have in store for you, from the metaverse to universal basic income. We're gonna change. We're gonna change the way you live. So don't worry about all that.
Notice how they say it is our responsibility to ensure that we establish a set of common values. So they're taking it upon themselves to establish the policy and the values that will undergird this fourth industrial revolution, because it says an opportunity for all. So they're using the words our and we, and then they end the goddamn sentence in all. So that all is not a part of that our and we, or that all is not us. That all is a part of we and our. But I know when somebody is speaking in this language, this is somebody sitting up in the ivory tower saying that I'm gonna figure this shit out for everybody. That's why this translates to us in mandates. This is what I'm mandating you to do because we established this shit.
Okay.
So as we're reading through this, I think it's important to make this, because that's a form of double speak right there. So to a novice, when you're reading, it is our responsibility to ensure that you thinking of some Michael Jackson, we are the world type shit. But that's not what it's saying. Our responsibility, he's talking to the technocrat.
Yes, that's exactly what he's talking to.
You see what I'm saying? So we're not a part of that hour and fucking because I don't know Charles Schwab ass, so I know he ain't including, Mr. Lowry's ass in the week because he don't know me.
Absolutely.
From man on, I haven't gotten a damn survey to say, give me your thoughts on,
right.
hold on, the common values to drive policy choices. He ain't asked me for my opinion on that shit.
No, he is speaking to the technocrats and everything else. But guess what? You heard what Mr. Twitter said, right? Jack Dorsey, his famous tweet from last week.
Yeah.
Hyperinflation is coming.
Yeah.
And he said, and it's going to change everything. This is 2 sentences. Hyperinflation is coming, and it's going to change everything. I don't even know a lot of people caught when he said all that. Like, it's going to change everything, meaning that it's a cause that we really need. We really need that hyperinflation to kick in to create that change that Klaus is talking about. We need all those components. We need hyperinflation. They say we need bare shells from not being able to get goods, the supply chain to be fucked up. We need people getting evicted and kicked out of their homes. We need people not participating in the system. The Great Resignation, as they call it today. They need all these factors. They need it all to come to an apex. We'll keep reading. They say, this is chapter 2, drivers. That's the title of chapter 2, drivers. Countless organizations have produced lists ranking the various technologies that will drive the fourth industrial revolution. The scientific breakthroughs and the new technologies they generate seem limitless, unfolding on so many different fronts and in so many different places. My selection of the key technologies to watch is based on research done by the World Economic Forum and the work of several of the forum's global agenda councils. 2.1 Megatrends. All new developments and technologies have one key feature in common. They leverage the pervasive power of digitization and information technology. All of the innovators described in this chapter are made possible and are enhanced through digital power. Gene sequencing. Wow, where have we heard that before? Gene sequencing.
They telling on themselves now.
I don't know. Gene sequencing, for example, could not happen without progress in computing power and data analytics. Similarly, advanced robots would not exist without artificial intelligence, which itself largely depends on computing power. To identify the megatrends and convey the broad landscape of technological drivers of the fourth industrial revolution, I, Klaus Schwab, have organized the list into 3 clusters: physical, digital, and biological. All 3 are deeply interrelated, and the various technologies benefit from one another based on the discoveries and progress each makes. 2.11 Physical. There are 4 main physical manifestations of the technological megatrends, which are the easiest to see because they are tangible, of their tangible nature. 1, autonomous vehicles, right? 3D printing, advanced robotics, new materials. right? He says these are the physical manifestations, right? These are things that we can see, touch, and feel, and hear, and everything, right? Number one, autonomous vehicles. The driverless car dominates the news, but there are now many other autonomous vehicles, including trucks, drones, aircrafts, and boats. I already told you, Elon created all them fucking driverless cars. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this shit about these truck drivers, we got a 80,000 man shortage, and we can't move this fuck, we can't haul these freights and shit. That's all by design, okay? Because they want to introduce. They have to create a market for it, people. They have to create the want for, the want to. They have to create events so the people will ask for it, in spite of the negative effect it's really going to have on them. But they will ask for it anyway because they've been inconvenienced. Okay, because we live in such an instant gratification society, when shit like supply chain is disrupted or interrupted, and people become antsy because they're not getting the things that they want and need, then they will say, well, we got these driverless trucks, we ain't really got to worry about, we don't have to worry about a man that we have to, he has to go to sleep for 8 hours and 10 hours and all those regulations we can get rid of if we just bring in the driverless truck driver. The driverless freight truck. We don't have to worry about those things. See, they are going to rely on people's dopamine for instant gratification to introduce a new world. They're very good. They're very good at what they do, I must say. As technologies such as sensors and artificial intelligence progress, the capabilities of all these autonomous machines improve at a rapid pace. It is only a question of a few years before low-cost, commercially available drones, together with submersibles, am I saying that right, Mr. Lowry? Submersibles are used in different applications. Okay. Let me make sure I said that right. Hold it. Twink said, don't let these people not get their Christmas packages.
Hellbreaker was good.
Drivers up, real talk. This is true. Here we go. As drones become capable of sensing and responding to their environment, altering their flight path to avoid collisions, they will be able to do tasks such as checking electric power lines and delivering medical supplies in war zones. Wow, they about to cut out the, he said power lines. I'm thinking of city workers. I'm thinking of city workers. And people who work for Pacific Gas and Electric. That's shit out here. But Georgia Power, I know, is a one big company. I can't think who's the main power supplier for DC.
Pepco, Potomac Electric Power Company. Okay. Dominion is over in Virginia.
Okay. In agriculture, they use the use of drones combined with data analytics will enable more precise and efficient use of fertilizer and water, for example. Data analytics is very important. I suggest everybody understand how to really read data, man, because data sets trends. And if you are in business, if you understand data analytics, that means you can attack inefficiencies and shit like that, and you can get ahead of your competition by understanding data analytics. Just want to put that out there. All right. 3D printing, also called additive manufacturing. 3D printing consists of creating a physical object by printing layer upon layer with a digital 3D drawing or model. This is the opposite of subjective manufacturing, which is how things have been done until now, with layers being removed from a piece of material until its desired shape is obtained. By contrast, 3D printing starts with loose material and then builds the object into a three-dimensional shape using a digital template. The technology is being used in a broader range of applications, from large wind turbines to small medical implants. They doing people's food too. Don't leave that out, Klaus. They're gonna be feeding people fake steaks made out of peas.
Digitally simulated goddamn concoctions
what was that in?
that they made on a computer.
Right, hey Don, which movie was that? The Feed? When them people was eating the goddamn the fake steaks and shit? I forget. I think was that The Feed? I forget. It's either The Feed or no, it's Upload. That was in Upload. Little girl was with this wealthy family, and they was eating a real steak, and they was like, "You never had like a real steak?" You know, they was eating 3D printed shit. Oh, it's coming. They said, for the moment, it is primarily limited to applications in the automotive, aerospace, and medical industries. Unlike mass-produced manufactured goods, 3D printed products can be easily customized. As current size, cost, and speed constraints are progressively overcome, 3D printing will become more pervasive to include integrated electronic components such as circuit boards and even human cells and organs. Y'all, you will have a 3D liver. Researchers are already working on.
Hold on now.
Yeah.
Where was that part that you read? Oh, here it is. It says, also called additive manufacturing. 3D printing consists of creating physical object by printing layer upon layer from a digital 3D drawing or model. This is the opposite of subtractive manufacturing, which is how things have been made until now, with layers being removed from a piece of material until the desired shape is obtained. Now, when Yakub started his grafting operation, he was using subtractive manufacturing because he was removing something. And then he was, mating the lighter with the lighter with the lighter. So anything that didn't come out negative, he moved it out the equation and just kept subtracting till he got to his desired color and consistency. So as you kept on reading, I find it highly interesting. After they bedazzled us with a whole bunch of BS, they then said they correlated this shit to goddamn humans. Right? Like, we could do the same thing with fucking him. Where it says 3D printing will become more pervasive to include integrated electronic components such as circuit boards. And then here you go, 3 sentences, 3 words, 5 words, 4 words. I don't know. And even human cells and organs. So they're attempting to do the reverse. So we're going to build it from oh my God, right? So they're not subtracting anything. So they're not marrying lighter onto lighter. What we want to do is just build it lighter so we can just keep producing indefinite light on top of light by adding the lighter on top of the lighter instead of subtracting the darker from the lighter. I caught that right there. Man, and they're doing it now. And even human cells and organs.
Yeah.
Building that shit the opposite way.
Hey, I played this clip when the chick said, in a minute, it's going to be hard to distinguish humans, human from, the ones who have these technological advances inside of them, on them, and inside of them. Like what is this is your transhumanism. It's not a conspiracy. It ain't none of that. It's the real deal. Hey, once you get started, I mean, you can say they started when they started doing hip replacements and shit like that, putting titanium in motherfuckers' legs. That you could say that was the tester, right? But now you literally have they're gonna be having injecting in cells and in organs literally computerized nanoparts in people. I mean, that's a real thing. That's not as they say, conspiracy. That shit's real. Here we go. Where we at? Researchers are already working on 4D, a process that will create a new generation of self-altering products capable of responding to environmental changes, y'all. Holla, hold up. Researchers are already working on 4D. That means they already got it. They got, what do they say? They 10 to 19 degrees deeper, meaning that they got this shit, they been had it. The devil's 19 degrees, deeper or whatever they can. I forget what Dr. York said in that class. It slips my mind. I'm paraphrasing. But yeah. It says a process that will create a new generation of self-altering products capable of responding to environmental changes such as heat and humidity. And you already see that in the clothes. And that's the next sentence. The technology could be used in clothing or footwear, and well as in health-related products such as implants designed to adapt to the human body. So, if it is self-altering, what can it do in your body? If it's self-altering, what can it change you into? Can it change you to do particular things in your actions? This is a question. Since it's self-altering, that means it has its own level of intelligence within you.
That's connected to the computer.
All right now.
That's connected to the digital world. The digital world will drive that alteration in the human body. When that sensor detects something, it's going to send your ass a signal to cut off your common sense.
Cut off your right. We don't want you thinking those thoughts. We're going to shut that shit down. We don't like the way you're thinking right now.
We're going to block that thought vibration.
Right. Do I sense hostility?
That it's nothing but a lobotomy in different terms. That's all it is. That shit sound like y'all could
you're getting hostile.
Lobotomy over here.
It'll be like,
brains out.
Right, they gonna have the other voice in their head. I sense hostility. Your body temperature went up 2 degrees.
All of a sudden, you just feel depressed. Like, God damn, I didn't take no lithium or nothing. Why am I feeling like this? Yeah. It's getting serious. They rap it in fancy language, though. They do.
Yeah. Here we go. Advanced robotics. Until recently, the use of robots was confined to tightly controlled tasks in specific industries such as automotive. Today, however, robots are increasingly used across all sectors of a wide range of tasks, from precision agriculture to nursing. Rapid progress in robotics will soon make collaboration between humans and machines an everyday reality. However, because of other technological advances, robots are becoming more adaptive and flexible, with their structural and functional design inspired by complex biological structures. An extension of the process called biomimicry, whereby nature's patterns and strategies are implemented. Ooh, wee.
Imitated.
Woo!
Read that sentence again.
It says, moreover, because of other technological advances, robots are becoming more adaptive and flexible, with their structural and functional design inspired by complex biological structures, an extension of a process called biomimicry, whereby nature's patterns and strategies are imitated. Hence, China creates the fake sun, their artificial sun, their artificial moon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Biomimicry to pattern Mother Nature. They want to replace Mother Nature, if you ask me.
Basically. Mm-hmm.
And they'll get away with it as long as they keep telling stupid humans that you're the cause of the planet's dying.
Right.
It's all your fault.
Right.
Because you like to drive a gas car and shit like that. And people will fall for it. Advances in sensors are enabling robots to understand and respond better to their environment and to engage in a broader variety of tasks, such as household chores. Well, I kind of like that because I don't like cleaning and shit. I would have a robot for that shit. I'm not even going to lie. I would. I'm not going to lie. God damn it. Contrary to the past, when they had to be programmed through an autonomous unit, robots can now access information remotely via the cloud and thus connect with networks of other robots. When the next generation of robots emerges, which they already have, they will likely reflect an increasing emphasis on human-machine collaboration. In Chapter 3, I will explore the ethical and psychological questions raised by human-machine relations. New materials. With attributes that seemed unimaginable a few years ago, new materials are coming to market. On the whole, they are lighter, stronger, recyclable, and adaptive. There are now applications for smart materials that are self-healing or self-cleaning. Metals with memory that revert to their original shapes. Ceramics and crystals that turn pressure into energy, and so on. But this is just alien technology just finally being brought to the masses. This is call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? These ain't these humans. Now, this is AI for alien intelligence. Not artificial, but alien. Mr. Lowry gave out that definition of biomimicry is the science of applying nature-inspired designs in human engineering and invention to solve human problems. Because we know humans are just so stupid they can't really solve problems. So let's create biomimicry. Here we go. Like many innovations of the fourth Industrial Revolution, it is hard to know where developments in new materials will lead. What's up? You laughing? What you laughing about?
That's a hell of a sentence. Like, in one hand, he talking all authoritative, and then he said, well, it's hard to determine where all this shit will lead. You know every goddamn thing else.
Right.
And y'all doing all this shit. How you not going to know what this shit leads to, man? How you know you is not gonna, man? This shit gonna be Atlantis. What was that place that we never saw? This got wiped out of civilization. Atlantis, and it was supposed to be highly civilized. Yeah, they were supposed to be highly civilized.
Or the Atlanteans.
The Atlanteans
too.
You see what I'm saying? They were supposed to be highly advanced. They had high technology, and their asses disappeared. You know what I'm saying? From the face of civilization doing all this shit, because they have yet to explain how all this is going to interact with Mother Earth. How's this supposed to happen? You know what I mean? Earth has its own natural processes. You know, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen. Them four is just like so natural to this particular realm that we in. How the fuck is all this shit supposed to work? Because all of it has a process, sort of like, what's that book, the 8-ball, the 9-ball? It's sort of like that. 9, 6, 3, back to 9, 6, 3. It's a goddamn process.
Oh, yeah. That's a cycle, baby. Yeah.
It's a cycle. So what are they just going to halt cycles? They're just going to halt everything. Is that what they try? That's what it sounds like.
If they could, they would.
You see what
they're
I'm
going to try their
saying?
damnedest. I follow you. Yeah.
Because in order for us to survive, we need that cycle to happen in the etherical world. So as that ether is going through its cycles, different manifestations are feeding off of each of those etherical elements that we need to fucking survive. So, you know, gas is one. It breaks down into nitrogen. A certain combination turns into oxygen. A certain combination turns into, you know what I mean? So that whole process is necessary in order to maintain the whole natural cycle. They're saying we got self-correcting, self-reproducing material.
Adaptive, right?
Self-adaptive. So you cutting out that whole natural process that we need in order to survive. When these people talking about zero carbon, that's the shit we're looking at right now. That's how they plan on bringing it about. We got all this self-replicating shit that don't produce nothing.
Right. Here we go. Like many innovations,
No, go ahead.
like many innovations of the fourth industrial revolution, it is hard to know where developments in new materials will lead. Take advanced nanomaterials such as graphene, GRAPHENE, which is about 200 times stronger than steel. Oh, you tell me that ain't alien. You tell me that ain't off planet. It's 200 times stronger than steel. Like they just discovered that shit. Yeah, that came from EB. 1,000,000 times thinner than human hair, and an efficient conductor of heat and electricity. Oh yeah, I got that from EB. When graphene. I'm probably saying it wrong, but becomes price competitive gram for gram, is one of the most expensive materials on Earth. With the micrometer-sized flake costing more than $1,000. Y'all hear that shit? A micrometer-sized flake costing more than $1,000. So you know, that's what I'm saying. You know they ain't getting this shit out the ground. They ain't come out no ground. They ain't come out the ground. That wasn't found in no cave in Africa. That wasn't found in no mountain in Japan. That wasn't found off the coastline of California. And it wasn't found in the red clays of Georgia. They came from another planet. Other new materials could play a major role in mitigating the global risks we face. New innovations in thermoset plastics, for example, could make reusable materials that have been considered nearly impossible to recycle, but are used in everything from mobile phones to circuit boards to aerospace industry parts. Now, I forget we was watching something where they showed that aliens gave these motherfuckers plastic. They gave them this indestructible plastic. You understand that what's that shit called? They gave the military had many years ago. Oh man, the shit that they used to make their vest and shit. Their bulletproof vest. I forget what it's called. Is it Teflon? What's that shit called? I forget the name that it was used, but yeah, it reminds me of that. New innovations. I already said that. I read that. The recent discovery of new classes of recyclable thermal setting polymers called polyhexahydrotriazenes, or PHTs, is a major step towards circular economy, which is regenerative by design and works by decoupling growth and resource needs. Okay, I gotta read that again because I gotta understand what the fuck that meant. Okay. New inventions. Wait. It said the recent discovery of new classes of recyclable thermal setting polymers called PHTs is a major step towards the circular economy, which is regenerative by design and works by decoupling. We know what D means. That means to destroy or to take away from. Decoupling growth and resources and resource needs. What are they saying there? They're saying that economic growth will not be tied to resources because you have this new material
that's self-regenerating.
That self-regenerates, and so therefore it's highly cost-effective. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because you're right. You're only using one goddamn tree because the one tree you're using just constantly keeps self-regenerating. You can't use all of it.
All right. Gotcha. 2.12 digital. One of the main, this is going to be our last section because we got 8 minutes left in the show. One of the main bridges between the physical and digital applications enabled by the fourth industrial revolution is the Internet of Things, sometimes called the Internet of All Things. It is the simplest form. In its simplest form, it can be described as a relationship between things, products, services, and places, and people that is made possibly by connected technologies and various platforms. Sensors and numerous other means of connecting things in the physical world to virtual networks are proliferating at an astonishing pace. Smaller, cheaper, and smarter sensors are being installed in homes, clothes, and accessories, cities, transport and energy networks, as well as manufacturing processes. Today, there are billions of devices around the world, such as smartphones, tablets, and computers that are connected to the internet. Their numbers are expected to increase dramatically over the next few years, with estimates ranging between several billion to more than 1 trillion. This will radically alter the way in which we manage supply chains by enabling us to monitor and optimize assets and activities to a very granular level. In the process, we will have transformative impact across all industries, from manufacturing to infrastructure to healthcare. I'm going to stop right there. We're going to start back on the digital because it goes. You know what I'm saying? It goes. And in the digital part, we got to really take our time with that digital because, yeah, we living in a material world by Madonna. We're living in a digital world.
Man,
so
this will radically alter the way in which, check it now, we already talked about that shit earlier, in a way in which we manage supply chains by enabling us to monitor and optimize assets and activities to a granular level.
Okay, I see Young T dropped that definition for me on the graphene. He said graphene is an allotrope of carbon consisting of a single layer of atoms arranged in a two-dimensional honeycomb lattice nanostructure. The name is derived from graphite and from the suffix NEN, reflect. Atoms arranged in a two-dimensional honeycomb lattice nanostructure. Okay. Like I said, extraterrestrial. Because I don't even know what the fuck that definition even means.
Sort of like an alpha bombardment, man.
It's like a description of a shape, right? That's what they're just telling me. Two-dimensional honeycomb lattice. I know what a lattice is. A lattice is something that you kind of cover, like when you know, like a lattice when you're outside.
Man, they're going into another fucking world. So the implications are, if they have this material to extract, and you're talking about graphene is the thinnest material known to a man at 1 atom thick. So the implications behind that is when you go into the infinitely small, there's a whole powerful other world there.
Energy behind that. Yeah.
No, an entire world. Well, what we think of as a world at that smallest level. Yes, dimension. So they're going into the infinitely small and discovering that there's some heavy goddamn processes going on at the infinitely small level that is driving everything as it multiplies and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is like subatomic shit.
Yeah.
So they probably have discovered the nature of what we think is power is derived from the infinitely small. We've been driven by something that it's small to us as a human because we're in this body.
Right.
And we interpret shapes, surfaces, solids. We can interpret that. But we're not designed to be able to openly see the infinite. Like, we can't see oxygen. We breathe the shit.
Right.
But unless you good as hell, I guess somebody can see oxygen. I can't.
Right.
I just know I breathe the shit. But inside of that oxygen,
Go ahead.
you know what I mean, is a driver there. A powerful driver.
I like how you said the small, the very, very small is extremely powerful because we've been programmed to think that big things are powerful. But they're talking about the lightest, smallest, thinnest. It's extremely powerful.
It's a lot of power there. And it's self-regenerating. It's self-replicating.
That's alien technology. It reminds me of. All right, okay. I'm gonna give y'all a homework assignment. I don't know how many people are going to do it, but I want you to watch a documentary, or it's not truly a documentary. It's a part documentary, part theory. It is called Thrive. It was made. It's called Thrive. It was made by one of the children of Procter and Gamble. We know who Procter and Gamble is. A very old school family. What Procter and Gamble make, like toilet paper and all that shit. I forget. They make a ton of products. Procter and Gamble. One of their sons, did a hell of a doctor. I talked about this like 7 years ago in the AP, and I might have said it on my show. Nobody watched that shit. I know nobody watched it because nobody ever said, Neff, man, that shit you was talking, go watch Thrive. That's that shit. Now, what we're reading right now is the shit that man was talking about many years ago. And it was about infinite energy. and we're showing how this level of energy would change the world.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm reading this, that would remind me of, and it was based off of like some of the Tesla technology. So this is how I know it's off planet, and they have it. They've been had it. They've had it for quite some time. So see, the thing is, the way that he did thrive, he wanted to. Is this why I always think there's always these warring factions on the planet, and we know they exist. That these warring factions want control of the planet. So this guy, Procter and Gamble's son, was trying to say, we have this technology, but we can really use it for the betterment of the planet, not to enslave people, but to really create a life, great life on planet. Now, either he was doing a fake left go right to make people think that they want to implement something for the better, or you know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I'll leave it up to everybody to make their own conclusions. But just watch it. I'm gonna go back and watch it over the strong beginning because he made that shit several years ago, and that's when I used to watch a lot. That's when I was watching a lot of documentaries and particularly about the wealthy. I would watch a documentary called The Corporation. Y'all need to check that shit out. The Corporation. Mm-hmm. It basically basically showed how Monsanto's recreated themselves into what they become today, and many other corporations. Yeah, The Corporation is a badass documentary. Bad meaning good. So like I said, the corporation thrived, and then I watched this other one where one of the children of the Johnson and Johnson dynasty, he made a documentary going in on his own family because he had been exiled. So that's, like I said, this was some years ago when I used to watch a lot of documentaries, but those are really fucking good shit, really good ones. But check out Thrive, man. Then I think Thrive will give this fourth industrial revolution read really, a lot better perspective of what they're trying to do. Now, I'm gonna see it from the eyes of they want to enslave people with the tech, because I don't think they want to free a goddamn anybody to really have a harmonious planet. They're not into shit like that. Matter of fact, they might be getting ready to go to war with China. Create some fucking war. Because ain't nobody talking about how America just put a whole bunch of fucking troops on the coastline of Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Their president, the Taiwanese president, confirmed it today. That American troops have been brought in, as China has been flying fighter jets over Taiwanese airspace. So while they got all these hearings and all that shit they be doing, you know how they roll. They want to create something else. So in the midst, right? So in the midst of all this chaos, nothing better for them to do than to start a war between the two biggest powers in the world. We'll see. With that, that's the show for tonight.
All right.
That's a good one to end on.
No, nightmares, but yeah.
That's a good one to end.
Great
but
show.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Mr. Lowry, for coming through, man. You give great insight. I love that. You brought that nine wisdom in from the etherical side. We always need that. Thank everybody for listening, man. I know it's 11 to 1 a.m. out there for y'all. Majority of folks listening in, so I don't want to hold y'all up any longer. We've been partying like a rock star, all strong with Dawn. She did the anniversary. She stayed up for literally like 3 days. 3 days. So I ain't gonna hold y'all up any longer. I gotta get up early in the new day. And so again, thank you, Mr. Lowry, for building with me as usual. Twank Star, boss lady over there in the on Lockdown Radio again. Young Ty, IB was all up over there. Sweet Oshun, what's up? IB, I said what's up. Ethereum, Newbie, everybody rocking J1, all stayed up and was rocking with us tonight. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. We'll see you in the new day for the greatest show on earth, y'all. The Don Nicoleon Show. Until next Wednesday, be prosperous, be safe, stay healthy. Peace.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.